Greetings, everyone. Pete here from Comic Book Geezers. Welcome to another edition of the show. We've got a very special show today. A, because it's the first of a new theme we're going to be doing. But B, here we have in lockdown all three of the geezers all in the same place on Zoom. We got myself, we got Kirk, we got Wild Bill. We're all here. And today what we're going to do, this has been asked for by some of viewers, we're going to do our favorite covers by hero or team or comic book, whatever. So we're going to start off with Spider-Man. And this was actually Bill's idea, how to start off here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show off my favorite 10 covers from issue 1 through 99. Kirk is going to do his favorites from 100 to 199, and Bill is going to do his favorites from 200 to 299. So why don't you guys each say hello real quick, and then I'll launch into mine.
Hey, how we doing? Bill, you there, bud?
I am here. I was just waiting for you to say hello, Kirk.
Waiting for you, buddy. All right.
Hello again, comic book fans. It's Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic. How's everybody? All right. I guess we'll kick it back to Pete. What do you got there, Pete?
All right, cool. So I don't have every single issue 1 to 100 or 1 to 99, but I have everyone from 18 to, is it everyone from 18 to, I don't know. I have the majority, but I'm missing like the real expensive ones. But this is my earliest Spider-Man. And I just love this cover because I'm a big fan of the Sandman. So this is number 18.
Nice.
First appearance in Ned Leeds. Okay. So this is a pretty notable issue. And I like the fact that they really show, Sandman in his glory there and Spidey kind of like, hanging in the background like, oh, we talk about this a lot. I always like when on the covers they make the villain look really strong. So, and that does the job well on there. This is my first with Craven, number 34. By the way, the last one and this one is a Steve Ditko cover. Do want to mention that. Another classic issue there. This might be one of my favorites of all time. This is actually a Johnny Romita cover. This is issue number 39. This is as iconic as it gets. And how about the first appearance of the Rhino, issue number 41, also a Johnny Romita Sr. cover. Paid a pretty penny for this one. Gotta love the Rhino, right? All right, how about number 44? All the rest of these are Johnny Romita Sr. covers. All right, here's the Lizard. It was hard to choose between some of these great Lizard covers, but I really dig this one a lot. I always kind of like the one-on-one thing going on some of these. How about number 46, the Shocker? Underrated villain, in my opinion.
Was that his first appearance?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 53, Doc Ock. I always dug this one. A lot of great Doc Ock covers. I actually think I prefer some of the Doc Ock covers in the 100s, but I think Romita and Ditko as well did some good ones early on. I know Kirk was hoping that I would pull this one out. So number 66, my favorite cover with Mysterio. Right, this is great. There's actually you can get a T-shirt of this, and I'm going to do it one of these days because this is one of my favorite
comic book
covers.
Fans. When Pete got that issue, I got his Marvel Tales version of that issue.
That's right.
Which is a keeper, definitely.
It is. That's a great cover. This is one of my favorites from a kind of sentimental perspective because this is the original copy that I was given to by Mrs. Weber, who a lot of you have heard me talk about. Mrs. Weber back in the early 70s, who I used to go visit my grandparents, and she would give me comic books from her son's collection. This is number 69 with the Kingpin. It's showing its age, but I've had this since probably 1972 or so, maybe 71, something like that.
That is my first sub 100 Spider-Man in my collection.
Nice.
That I just picked up last year.
Yep, it's a good one to have. It's a great cover. I love the fact that the Kingpin looks so powerful.
And mine's in a little bit better shape, too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, this is a little beat up. And my number 10 is going to be number 93. I love the Prowler. I love the way he looks, and I just love this cover.
Yeah, that's a keeper. What number is that? Like
93? 93. There's an earlier one, too, his first appearance. And I almost pulled that one, but I think I like this cover a little bit better.
I have the Marvel Tales. I used to have like 3 copies of the Marvel Tales version of that.
Those are my 10. So, Kirk, what do you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to start off with 102, which is the second appearance of Morbius. I just love the fact that you're looking at both It's a Kane cover. You've got Morbius and the Lizard duking it out. I mean, and again, I love the way they use the colors sometimes in this. It's just a yellow background, and it's pretty sweet. It's a great book.
That 101 is great too.
Yeah. I was looking for that. I couldn't find it in my collection. I've got my Spider-Mans are a little disjointed right now. This book is probably if not the oldest, the second oldest comic book in my collection. I bought this off the stand, and you can see 20 cents, and there's tape on it and everything. It's been loved. So, but just such a great kit, because I love these Spider-Man covers where they mixed all the little subplots there on the cover and everything. It told you everything that was going on in the book. So, Harry's being a pain in the butt. Mary Jane's wearing like a fern on her chest. I don't know what that's all about, but.
And that's a Romita, right? That's Johnny
Yeah,
Romita?
it's a Romita. Yeah. Mostly it's going to be Romitas. I love this one. You don't see the villain, but you know who it is. I mean, it's 128. Sweet cover. Love the Vulture. Big fan of the Vulture.
I've talked about my friend Joe handed me down his comics when we were teenagers, and that one was in the stack that he gave me.
That's a good
That's
score.
An awesome Vulture cover right there.
It is.
Yeah. I like this. The character never did too well, but I always liked the look of the character, and I think it was a good, he matched Spider-Man when he fought him, the Tarantula.
Hey, Kirk.
Yeah,
I got that one from Pete in New Paltz for beer money when he was selling his comics. That's part of the stack.
And I had to rebuy it again like 5 years ago. Yeah.
I hate to say it. Yeah, we've discussed that before. There were many a book that got sold during those New Paltz years that both of us have unloaded stuff. And Bill was a smart man. He was
a very smart man.
But they weren't as as valuable as they are now. Back then, nobody knew how popular they would become today.
No, but
so
you
to
bought
get
when
them
the
for a
market was
song and
right.
a dance back then, I think I did pretty good. And the books are still well taken care of. They're in good hands.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it. I like to hear that my old books end up in good places too.
Oh yeah. I will say one more thing about the Tarantula. I read someone was talking about him on I don't remember where I read it recently, that said the Tarantula was one of the best, worst villains of all time because he wasn't especially formidable, but man, did he look cool, right?
Isn't that? I would be honest. Yeah, not scripted well. I don't know how guy's got like little pointy shoes that he stabbed people with. But yeah, looks pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
This is another one of these covers with like all the crossovers and everything, And again, I think it's like the second appearance of the Punisher in this too. I mean, it's just a really good book. And again, this is an old original one that had been in my collection since I was a kid. Again, I had to find one Mysterio book because I love Mysterio. I just think what a great villain.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, I looked at picking a first appearance up recently, and I was like, ooh. So we're just going to think about that for a little bit more. So, but this is another. This is 42. I think this is another Kane, I believe. I love this run. I thought this was a great run of books. It was a whole like Gwen Stacy clones saga.
Yep.
That was done before clones were like, nowadays everybody's like, I know what a clone is. Back then, nobody knew what a clone was. I thought this was a great run. And again, back to the Tarantula there again, dressing up. And it was just good stuff. And the Jackal.
That's right, the Jackal, yeah.
Now, you can't do a run on Spider-Man unless you do the Kingpin. And 150, I think, is a great cover again. You got everybody, you got the Sandman, the Vulture, the Kingpin. And, people forget the Kingpin really started out as a Spider-Man villain.
Oh, yeah, for many years.
Everybody always, sees him connected to Daredevil. But great run on that.
That's good Gil Kane cover there.
Yeah, okay. I threw this one in. This is by Milgram. Because every comic book has somebody always standing over a grave in it. You ever notice that? It's like every run of big. There's always. And Aunt May died like 3 or 4 times. I don't even know if she's still alive now. She might be alive. She's dead. I'm not too sure. But definitely good. And then I threw this one in because I love this cover, and I've actually bought this book a couple times because I think I might have given this one to Bill at one point. I don't know.
I don't know if you did, but I do have that issue. But I think I bought it at the comic book store when I was in, my 20s. But that's an important book because it's the first issue that talks about Peter Parker's parents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, nobody ever wanted to mention it. It was, Aunt May and Uncle Ben, but it was like, wait a minute, then where did he come from? There's no background.
This is right. This is the book that gives the background info on Peter Parker's parents.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. I have that also. Mine's really beat up because I've had it since I was a kid, but it's good.
All right. Bill, I think it's your turn to bat, dude.
Okay. All right, gang. So I'm going to take over from issues 200 to 299. So I'm going to start off with 201. Classic Punisher and Spider-Man. This is a Romita cover. And on the inside, it's Keith Pollard artwork. But this is a great one to start off. Then we move up to issue 220. Moon Knight.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. And this is a Bob Layton cover. And I like Bob Layton also with his work with Iron Man, but this is just stands out. This is just a great cover. Now 227 with the cat. Get that glare out of there. Moving up to 230 with Juggernaut on the cover.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, this is great.
Does that fight end in a tie, Bill? Because that should be a wipeout in favor of the Juggernaut, but
yeah, you would think. Then we move on to 231 with the Cobra.
Ooh, look at that.
And I was just talking recently, I forget, but it might have been in a chat room with somebody, but I was like, people were talking about the Cobra, and I was talking about this issue. This cover just stands out like it's one of the greatest covers with the Cobra involved with Spider-Man, I think.
Well, the Cobra should have always been a Spider-Man villain. I don't know why Stan and Jack thought that he should be like a big nemesis of Thor early on, because he's got no power, but he would be perfect at fighting like Daredevil and Spider-Man. I mean, that made more sense to me.
Yeah, definitely in his power class.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
Hey, Spider-Man taking on the Juggernaut. That should really be like the final issue of Spider-Man at that point.
Next, we move on up to 236.
Ooh, that's very cool.
Yeah. I think if I had Kirk's run, would have been a harder assignment for me. It was a little bit easier to weed through 200 through 300.
And you gave yourself that assignment, my friend.
I did.
I did.
And that's why.
Yeah.
Because it would have been a lot harder. I would have probably picked like 20 or 25 books. But I picked issue 250, anniversary issue with the Hobgoblin. And it's really cool what he says up here. If you can read that, it says, "It's great. Steal it." And I heard that they actually caught a lot of flack for that, like encouraging people to shoplift. And it's like, come on, man. Liberals will protest anything out there. It's a joke, I bet you can't even buy this without it being censored now. That's how liberal people are getting, anal over anything, So what's also nice, Hobgoblin again, 261.
That's great. Yeah.
Another great, they both have fire in the background, which I think is really cool. But as you can see, if you guys have been watching these covers that I'm showing, you can see the evolution of the covers, like not having the same pop as what Pete and Kirk have been showing.
True.
Yeah.
Craven. This is number 293. I'm kind of going out of order here, but this is a great cover as we're getting closer to issue 300. Now I skipped out of here. This is number 10 for me. This is 283, which has the Absorbing Man. You'll notice you got the black Spider-Man suit. I kind of went out of order here, but we got the Absorbing Man and I forget who this chick is. And
that was his. He was his girlfriend. I forget what her name is.
Oh,
yeah. Titania.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these are like the only ones with the black suit. And then for honorable mention, I had to pick one with the Submariner.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? This is issue 211. And then I got a couple other honorable mentions. I got issue 238.
That's a good cover.
Unfortunately, this book doesn't have the tattoos in it, the one I bought. So it's not as worth as much as I guess because of the tattoos. I bought this at a comic book shop in the late 80s, early 90s. I was catching up on my run after college. I wanted to go as far as 300, but I stopped in my college days. Another honorable mention with the black suit. This is 287. Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it for Spider-Man books. But the last 7 or 8 issues of Spider-Man, they were jumping around different titles. What's that? Crossovers?
Yep.
Jumping from one title to another to make you buy more comics.
Yeah.
And to tie in with Kirk's theme about somebody standing over a grave, this is very appropriate. This is Web of Spider-Man number 32, which is part 4 of a 6-part story of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And this was all on the way, those last 10 books, the last 7 books between 293 and 300, they started to jump the story around between Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. This is issue 131, and this is part 3 of the story, and that looks like Vermin.
Yeah, nice.
And then another one with Vermin is 132, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's look like Mike Zeck covers.
What's that?
Those are Mike Zeck covers, aren't those?
You must be correct because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna yes, I'll say yes. This is 133.
Yeah.
And this has never really seen sunlight, but the problem with a white background is going to start getting dingy.
Yeah.
No matter
they
what.
don't last well.
That happened to my She-Hulk #1, but I sold that. That's pretty much it, guys. And for those of you who watched our recent episode of Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, I didn't have these books in there because these are in my Spider-Man box, and they are part of the sequence of the story between Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man. So these stay in the Spider-Man box because it's part of the story between 290 and 300. But if you guys watched that Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man episode, I had a lot of glitches and errors going on, and I did show off a lot of books that got cut out because I was like Max Headroom apparently. And I'd like to go over those real quick. I had shown issue number 4 from Spectacular Spider-Man, which you guys did not get to see because of my technical difficulties. I also showed number 5, which that didn't come through on that episode we taped. And one of my favorites that also didn't get shown was issue number 6 with Morbius, Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. And I also did a little humor there with Pete. I had talked about this one-hit wonder, Lightmaster. This is issue 2, but you guys got to see the book, but I gave this nice little origin story to Pete, and it got all hashed and cut up. I had said that this guy worked for Duracell Batteries factory, and he had invented a battery that had a life of like 100 times more than a regular battery. And then Duracell stole his idea and fired him. And then he stole his invention and went on the warpath. And that's it. So that's all we got for Spider-Man.
Oh man, too funny. Well, that was fun, guys. So we're going to be doing more of these. So with Hulk and Iron Man, Avengers, Fantastic Four, you name it, they're all going to be fair games. So look out for more of these favorite cover shows coming in the very near future. So I am Pete. For Wild Bill and Kirk, thanks for joining us here at Comic Book Geezers. Make sure you subscribe. I'll let my 2 co-hosts sign us off here. We'll see you guys again real soon. Take care.
Wild Bill, as always, saying thanks for being here. We appreciate your comments and all your support, and keep coming back. We'll be putting out more episodes. Take care.
All right, guys. Yep. Thanks again. It's been a pleasure. You guys have a great day. All right. Be safe out there.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.